An American comic book is a thin, periodical, containing primarily comics content. While the form originated in 1933, American comic books first gained popularity after the 1938 publication of Action Comics, which included the debut of the superhero Superman. This was followed by a superhero boom that lasted until the end of World War II. After the war, while superheroes were marginalized, the comic book industry rapidly expanded, and genres such as horror, crime, and romance became popular. The 1950s saw a gradual decline, due to a shift away from print media in the wake of television and the impact of the Comics Code Authority. The late 1950s and the 1960s saw a superhero revival, and superheroes remain the dominant character archetype in the 21st century. Since the later 20th century, comic books have gained note as collectible items. Comic shops cater to fans, and particularly valuable issues have fetched in excess of $1 million. Systems of grading comic books have emerged, with plastic sleeves and cardboard backing available to maintain the condition of comic books. Format: Standard comics are 6.625 inches x 10.25 inches and about 32 pages long. Making comics. While comics can be the work of a single creator, the labor of making them is frequently divided between the number of specialists. There may be a separate writer and artist, or there may be separate artists for the characters and backgrounds. Particularly in superhero comic books, the art may be divided between a penciler, who lays out the artwork in pencil, an inker, who finishes the artwork in ink, a colorist, a letterer, who adds the captions and speech balloons. The process begins with the creator coming up with an idea or concept, then working it into a plot and story, and finalizing the preliminary writing with a script. After the art production, letters are placed on the page and an editor may have the final say before the comic is sent to the printer. The creative team, the writers and artists, may work with a comic book publisher for help with marketing, advertising, and other logistics. A distributor like Diamond Comic Distributors, the largest in the U.S., helps to distribute the finished product to retailers. Another part of the process involved in successful comics is the interaction between the readers, fans and the creator. Fan art and letters to the editor were commonly printed in the back of the book until the early 21st century, when various internet forms started to replace them. Independent and alternative comics. Comic specialty stores did help encourage several waves of independently produced comics, beginning in the mid-1970s. Some of the early examples of these, generally referred to as independent or alternative comics, such as Big Apple Comics, continued somewhat in the tradition of underground comics, while others, such as Star Reach, resembled the output of mainstream publishers in format and genre but were published by smaller artist-owned ventures or by a single artist. A few represented experimental attempts to bring comics closer to the world of fine art. The small press scene continued to grow and diversify, with a number of small publishers in the 1990s changing the format and distribution of their books to more closely resemble non-comics publishing. The mini-comics form, an extremely informal version of self-publishing, arose in the 1980s and became increasingly popular among artists in the 1990s, despite reaching an even more limited audience than the small presses.